¿Te has preguntado cuál es el rol de las grandes empresas y sus líderes para impulsar la innovación social corporativa? Eso es justo lo que vamos a tratar de resolver en esta nueva serie de Disruptivo TV con el apoyo de grandes aliados. En las próximas 10 semanas tendremos conversaciones con algunos de los líderes de las empresas más importantes de toda la región. Tenemos una página especial, disruptivo.tv/innovación social corporativa, a la cual te invito a que conozcas, porque además de las entrevistas hay un ebook nuevo con los principales aprendizajes de las conversaciones que tuvimos con estos 10 líderes. Así que no te despegues, suscríbete a nuestros canales de YouTube, Spotify o donde sea que escuches sus podcasts. Y recuerda, entra a disruptivo.tv/innovación social corporativa para aprender todo acerca de este gran tema. Estamos todos listos para una nueva conversación sobre innovación social corporativa y liderazgo responsable. Yo soy Juan del Cerro, fundador de Disruptivo y director de Social Lab México, y la verdad estoy muy entusiasmado por estar aquí con ustedes de nuevo. Como ya lo saben, en estas últimas semanas hemos estado hablando con líderes de toda América Latina sobre qué significa exactamente el liderazgo responsable y cómo este puede llevar a impulsar la innovación social corporativa en algunas de las empresas más importantes de todo el continente, empresas transnacionales, quienes nos han compartido algunos de sus líderes para poder discutir estos temas. A mí me entusiasma muchísimo y pues nada, creo que vamos a empezar ahora. Ya lo saben que estas conversaciones no las estoy teniendo yo solo, sino que estoy invitando y están acompañándome algunos líderes de la red de BMW Foundation, con quienes compartimos, ¿no? Así que de entrada, pues bueno, volvemos a agradecer a BMW Foundation, a Empathy, a Social Lab, a Sistema B y a las demás organizaciones que han sido parte de esto. Y sin más ni más, porque tenemos muchas ganas de ir a la conversación del día de hoy, quiero acompañar al Responsable Leader de la red de BMW que me acompaña el día de hoy. Bienvenido, Matías, qué gusto me da volverte a ver. La verdad es que han sido unas conversaciones excelentes las que hemos tenido. Ya te estás volviendo un regular de Disruptivo, que me encanta. Ahora que se nos acabe en esta serie de liderazgo responsable e innovación social, vamos a tener que buscarnos otra excusa más para que vuelvas, porque la gente que nos escucha también está muy contenta de tenerte por acá. ¿Cómo va todo por allá, por Chile?
Todo bien aquí, Juan, muy feliz de estar acá compartiendo de nuevo y feliz de estar aprendiendo con grandes líderes que nos han enseñado muchas cosas en los últimos capítulos, así que muy contento de estar acá nuevamente.
Así es. Oye, Mati, y digo, antes de que nos presentes a la invitada del día de hoy, que está de verdad de lujo, cuéntanos un poquito nada más qué es Social Lab para la gente. Tú eres director de operaciones de Social Lab en toda América Latina y probablemente hay gente que nos escuche que todavía no conoce Social Lab, aunque yo les he platicado porque Disruptivo y Social Lab son empresas hermanas en México, pero bueno, pues habrá algún despistado por ahí o despistada que no lo conozca todavía. ¿Qué hace Social Lab en Latam?
Bueno, Social Lab es una empresa social latinoamericana que está enfocada en apoyar a grandes corporaciones en el desarrollo de la innovación social corporativa, que es justamente uno de los temas de estos podcasts, y por otro lado, acelerar, incubar startups que pueden entregar ese valor a las grandes corporaciones. Y hoy se ha acuñado un término bastante interesante que es el corporate venturing, que es la unión entre estos dos mundos, entre startups y empresas, y nosotros estamos ahí, estamos en el medio. Así que todas estas conversaciones también tienen que ver con el quehacer de Social Lab en Latinoamérica.
Me encanta, Mati. Y bueno, pues para entrar a la conversación de lleno, cuéntanos quién nos acompaña el día de hoy, porque bueno, hemos tenido puro entrevistado de lujo en esta serie de Liderazgo Responsable, pero bueno, hoy estamos también con, no quiero decir cerrando porque es de las últimas entrevistas que estamos haciendo, pero como el orden puede variar, pero hoy tenemos a alguien que nos va a subir el nivel de la conversación. Cuéntanos quién está con nosotros.
Totalmente. Bueno, les aviso a los auditores que vamos a cambiar en un rato más cuando entre Cristina al switch inglés, así que para que estén preparados. Y nos va a acompañar en esta conversación una persona que representa a SAP, que es una empresa con la que hemos trabajado a nivel latinoamericano como Social Lab y que está muy metida también en temas de sustentabilidad. Justamente hace poco lanzaron un reporte que los invito a revisar. Y la invitada del día de hoy es Cristina Palmaka, que es CEO de SAP para Latinoamérica y el Caribe. Y estamos muy contentos de tenerla acá, de poder conversar con ella, no solamente respecto a su visión desde SAP, sino que también desde cómo ella ve los cambios en la operativa, en el día a día. Así que, very welcome, Cristina, to this conversation. We are glad to have you here, and we hope this can be a learning experience for the three of us and for everyone who's listening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Matias. Thank you all for taking this conversation in English, because my Spanish is almost perfect, but it's better and safer to do it in English. So really appreciate everybody that is going to follow this wonderful podcast in English. So really appreciate the time for being here on this day with all of you.
No, thank you, Cristina, for the time, for the disposition, and for the openness to talk to us about these very, very important topics. I'm just going to give one last message in Spanish for all our audience before we dive right in. A toda nuestra comunidad que nos está escuchando, si, como ya lo dijo Matías, la conversación con Chris va a ser en inglés, pero recuerden que en la página de esta serie especial está el ebook donde pueden ver ustedes también los principales aprendizajes de las entrevistas para que no se pierdan nada de lo que platicamos con Cristina el día de hoy. Ya tienen aquí en la descripción del episodio el link al landing page, ahí pueden descargar el ebook donde vendrán los apuntes principales de la conversación de Chris en caso de que se les vaya algo en la traducción. Y bueno, pues vamos ahora sí directo. Chris, we can start right in. Tell us a little bit about SAP Latin America. A lot of us know it as SAP, but the right pronunciation is SAP. So tell us what it is. It's one of these corporations that it's in our lives every day without we really knowing about it. It's not something you go out and buy it in the store, but it affects and improves our everyday life. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, thank you, Juan. And it's a big pleasure because SAP this year is completing the first 50 years anniversary. So we say the first because we still believe that we are going to have a long journey impacting people's life. It's a company really leader in the market of enterprise software. So it really impacts a lot of companies across the world and across the region. Almost 80% of the GDP worldwide of those companies are using, in a way, SAP software. So for sure, in everything that we all touch, being a retail, being a telco, being a mining, oil and gas, on healthcare institutions, they use SAP software. So for sure, everybody's life is being impacted for our technology in a way. But I think the most important part is not just the software and the wonderful technology that we hold, but it's our purpose. We have a very strong purpose, to really make the world work better and improves people's life. And I think that's the piece that really excites me day after day, because it's living on this purpose on day by day, how we impact our customers, how we impact our partners, our employees, our stakeholders, our startups, our communities, and where we have business. I think that's the most important part that all of you should know about SAP in all the programs that we have across the region. And I am so honored and privileged to lead SAP here in the region. And we have so much nice stories of those impacts that we live on our purpose day by day. So I think that's the part. If you don't know what SAP does, we really invite to learn a little bit more about how SAP is impacting the communities that we are touching every day here in Latin America.
Thank you very much, Cristina, for that introduction. I'm going to dive in the questions right now because I'm eager to know a little bit more about what you're doing. And what you say about the purpose of SAP, is very related to the report you recently launched. I would like to take with me an indicator that says that 69% of the interviewed executives that participated in this study declared having a sustainability strategy. So this also represents a change and an improvement from the last evaluation. And it seems to me that awareness is getting everywhere now. Executives, leadership are aware that triple impact, that environmental and social variable have to be taken into account for that the company has a sustainable future. So I would like to go away from this awareness because I think it's a first very important step, but I would like to go to the second step. Okay, what do we do once we are aware of this? In your opinion, what's the next step for corporate leaders to develop these sustainability initiatives? And also, what if there has to be any change on this leadership? What should be that change?
Yeah, no, this is a very interesting point, Matthias, because 2 years ago, we wanted to understand how our customers, how our region was seeing sustainability. Especially in the pandemic, this topic probably got a little bit of more or higher focus because of the way we were seeing the impacts in terms of pandemic or the environment, people really being at home, and start probably reflecting on the social part because of the high impact that the whole economic growth had, especially in our region. So 2 years ago, we decided just to see where we were and how we were going to see this on evolution, and how we consider that we touch so many customers across the region could impact at the end of the day the region, not just through our customers but the region. So it was nice to see the evolution. So before 2020 was around 49% of companies already embracing sustainability on the strategy, now close to 70%, 69%, which is already a good indicator. But to your point, it's very important that we take actions on that. Yeah, being part of the strategy and being on, I always say, on a PowerPoint, on a wall is very nice, but is most important is what we are really doing. What are the priorities? So we dig in a little bit. What were the activities? And most of our the customers that the companies that we interviewed were focusing a lot on the social and diversity topics. This was probably the top of mind for most of the companies, really starting to do sometimes basics policies in terms of diversity, inclusion, bringing diverse teams to their organizations. And especially in our region, this is a mandatory, because we are already a very diverse geography in terms of racial, ethnicities, cultural perspective. So this really must be something very important to take into consideration. This is a pillar that most of the companies are taking nice steps. Some companies start to see the overall impact on the carbon footprint, just for as an instance, in terms of supply chain, what's being involved, but it's still far from where we should be. So it's good that it's on the strategy, but to your point, what we should change it, because only around 20% of the companies are considering on their strategy the impact, for instance, from their suppliers. There is no way that you can be sustainable and really embracing this if you ignore this part of the suppliers. What your supplier is doing is supplying from the right sources without impacting the environmental, without having children working. So you need to see this on a full 360 view. So the research was good to show us that there is still a lot of opportunity for us in the region to improve, to take this on a more holistic way. And that's how we are trying to incentive. And technology is being an important part of this journey. Around 50% of the companies are showing that the investment on technology is important and is growing, because can help to track, to monitor, for instance, traceability of where the products are coming from, the whole value chain connectivity, and understanding where the product comes from. So there is a lot of things that can be done. And our mission, that perspective, is showing the possibilities and really bringing the discussions with leaders that are very seriously taking this into consideration. In fact, we have a set of products that can help our companies, but there is one that is super important and unique, that makes the track of carbon footprint on our customers. And the first customer was a Chilean customer in the world that start with our project on that perspective. So what I see on a realistic but optimistic perspective is that there is the awareness. There are companies that are starting really doing, but there is still a big opportunity to really embrace and see the impact of all the companies across the region. But I'm optimistic that we, together with our customers, I have an ambition. I'm going to say here a secret, right, Matthias, to the people that are hearing to us. I really have an ambition that Latin America is perceived as a region that embrace sustainability on a very serious way. And we, of course, inside SAP have another ambition to really be the company that is going to help our partners, our customers, our employees, our society to really move to this next step on sustainability with all pillars of ESG.
Cristina is...
Sorry, Juan, just one thing that Cristina said caught my attention, and I would like to deepen a little bit more, only a minute, sorry, Juan, but this is very interesting. You talk about collaboration, to go outside from your core business to providers, to suppliers, to other entities, and collaboration, I believe, is the word of the next decade, because ourselves alone can't do it. And just to understand, do you see, Cristina, that this interconnectedness, I don't know if that's a real word, but interconnectedness between companies and other allies, suppliers, governments, municipalities, etc., is in the mind of leaders right now, or do you think it has to be a little bit more work to be done about that?
No, I think on the leaders that are taking this seriously is already on top of mind. Yep. I always say that sustainability is not a company, one company approach. Of course, we inside SAP, we are pushing hard, but we know that we are not alone. Yeah, we know that if we connect this with our customers, with startups that sometimes have different ideas and can complement our view and our approach. The government is one important pillar on that perspective. Yeah, many things should come from the regulatory perspective, but I think the good point that the companies are not waiting for that. Yeah, of course there are companies that just wait. I'm just going to do that if we have a regulation, if we have a pressure, if there is a fine. But the serious companies are doing this just looking because this is the right thing to do. And I'm so happy. I have the best job in the world, right? I have the chance of talking to customers of different segments, different size, small, big, giant, startups, now across the region. So not just I live here in Brazil. I'm going to be next week in Colombia, in Mexico. I was 2 weeks ago in Buenos Aires. And talking to those leaders and seeing their problems and their perspective and their opportunities to collectively attack the problem. This is not a problem of one company, of one country, and I think the pandemic really showed that if you have something happening in the world, maybe we can fix faster in rich countries. But nobody is going to be safe of not being impacted by those topics on sustainability, on pandemic, on social, and especially in our region, from the ESG, the environmental is important. The governance, I think, is improving, but for sure, the big focus in one of the events that I had with some customers is looking for the social perspective. This is still a lot of work to be done in terms of education, in terms of poverty, in terms of inclusion. I know here specifically in some countries in Brazil, we are talking a lot of Black people inclusion in the workforce. So there are, depending on the country, different minorities that are there. In fact, they are majority in the countries, but they need to be included and supported. So I think our mission collectively is to really bring the discussion, and collaboration, Matthias, is a key element, because there is no one that will fix by itself. It's not one country problem on one company. So the whole connection and one supporting the other just make everything better. Sometimes we can solve the problem from this size. If we collectively engage, we can really broad and have different ways to attack our main pains that we have as society, Matthias.
Awesome, Cristina. And of course, there's a lot of more topics that we could go into, just that first response that you're giving us. And I want to grab from it, but to move it on to the next topic, which is a little bit of the challenges that companies face and leaders face in implementing these kind of initiatives and work. And I think that you mentioned something really interesting. I don't remember the specific word, but it made me thought about this kind of it's hard to balance from a company's point of view, because some companies think you start thinking about suppliers, and you also have to think about your suppliers' sustainability and involve all your leaders. So on the one part, it can seem very, very, very difficult, a very large endeavor to implement sustainability practices. And but on the other part, there are companies that just do a little something and think that they are already completely transformed, and then they put on all the medals. So you shouldn't either stop because it's too big, or believe you've done a lot by doing something really small. And I don't know if that's a challenge on its own, but I do think that it's something that challenges to start. What are the challenges that you see that companies, that leaders face in implementing this? Am I right? Am I right to think that some leaders believe it might be too complex to implement the discussion? Because every day we learn about something new that is not sustainable, or every day we learn about a new problem in society, and this company which we thought was amazing, now it turns out that the way they're so it's ever evolving, and it's ever more challenging, which is good. More information is good, but it can be intimidating. No, do you think that's one of the challenges, or what are the other challenges to start and to actually implement corporate social innovation and sustainability practices?
Yeah, you're right. I think it seems that our life as leaders became more complex, right? Because we have more things to take care. In the past, if you just deliver a good result, and independently of how everybody was celebrating, and you were receiving all the medals, and now you need to continue delivering good results. Yeah, you still need to look after the financials of the companies, but the way you deliver that are as important as the final result. And sometimes the results are not super beautiful, but if you deliver on the right way, this is also valued, right? Especially by the market. I think those are also new dashboards that we are bringing. Yeah, where the financials are there; they are not gone. Sometimes they are brutal, but if you don't do this on a sustainable way, taking into consideration the impact that you bring, you also don't get good outcomes for the company. So it's more complex. But on the other hand, you have more tools to control. So most of those connectivity that you can have to control your suppliers, there is a lot of technology that can help. Yes, for instance, you can have, depending on the industry, blockchain technology supporting the traceability of where the product is coming from. You have systems that I mentioned before that can identify not just in terms of how efficient is your supply chain, but what's the impact in terms of carbon footprint, depending on the supplier that you are selecting. So in a way, it's more complex. You have more metrics, but you have also additional tools. And that's the beauty, especially of being technology. And I am in technology for a long time. Even though I don't look and I'm not deep on the technical part, for me, the technology is a wonderful enabler for the change, to make this life possible, to control, for instance, the analytics in terms of not just on the sustainability, but also on the diverse topics, on the equality topics. So on the governance part is the basics of having this under technology tools. So I think that's the way that the leaders should do. And I'm really on that perspective, Juan, that sometimes you need to start small and then you expand and you learn. And you need to be open to believe that sometimes mistakes will happen, but you need to recognize fast and move and learn and don't repeat the same one. Yeah, the journey is a journey. You don't go here and say, oh, now I'm going to make my company sustainable, then I go home and never touch this again. Every day you need to revisit your process, revisit the way you are doing things, the way you are incorporating your team, the way you are incorporating supplies, the way you are supporting your community, and the way we are engaging the conversations with the industries, with government, with different stakeholders. So I think that's a journey. And the most important part for me is that we never repeat the same mistakes of the past. Many things also for us as consumers, that was super natural, how we were buying things, how we were not recycling things. Today, in my generation, I have a 16-year-old daughter, and for her, it's like amazing that we had all the products that without putting recycling in our own house, our own apartment. And for her, this is so natural. Yeah, and I think that's the new generation that is coming. I'm optimistic that can help to change, to challenge, and that we start solving those problems. There are problems that are really long-term problems. So it's going to take more time. But we need to start, we need to put the sense of urgency. Yeah, we have the 17 ODS that is already on the corner for 2030. What are we doing every day to impact and improve, even if it's a small step? It makes a difference. And I think the being is, of course, inside a big corporation, I always challenge the companies, small, big partners, that they make their part. We need to do our part as a consumer, as an individual inside the company, especially on my position. I really need to guarantee that we as a company are doing the right things. And we have our new credo that makes SAP better for generations to come. Is exactly to allow us to think if every activity that we have with in every part of the process, with partners, with customers, internally, if we are really doing the things that are correct and better for the generations to come. I think that's the mindset that we should have as companies, as leaders, and also as individuals. So one step at a time, but the impact at the end needs to be really huge.
Thank you very much, Cristina. I've written down a lot of notes. I can do a very good insights of what you said. And I would like to go to one last question, because this is very interesting, but we don't have enough time. We would be talking like for all afternoon but I would like to go to one final question in how SAP goes hands-on, manos a la obra, como diríamos en español. How does SAP embraces this strategy by doing, by operating, by generating initiatives that in themselves generate triple impact? More specifically about Social Marathon, maybe you could tell us more a little bit about that program, and also what's your vision of success for Social Marathon in the future? How do you say at the end of the year, this worked for me, for all the collaborators, and for the company itself and every stakeholder? So could you tell us a little bit more how SAP goes hands-on on this triple impact strategy?
Yeah, we have so many projects, Matthias, that sometimes I cannot even follow all of the, let's say, the energy that our teams have. And I think I'm blessed twice. First, because we have a company that allows us to do so many nice things, to really think out of the box, connect programs like the Social Marathon that I'm going to talk in a moment. But so that's the first part. We need to have an environment, and this is our responsibility, to have an environment that we allow those connections, those ideas to flow. But the second part that I'm saying, I'm always blessed because we have a team that every time we have a challenge or an opportunity, sometimes on challenging times, we have always a team that really jumps on a proactive way. This is a volunteer way that is additionally to everybody's job here. So there is nobody that is has like a job description to do that. So it really comes because at the end, our work is to give the space for our team to shine and to put their time, their investment to make the world work better and improve people's lives, to really live the purpose. And for me, the Social Marathon is one of those examples of this program that we have to really embrace our startups, our focusing on social and environmental projects that can impact the region. And we support in the best way on the mentorship, on technology, on skills, those organizations to really come with the ideas. So it's a very nice competition to really bring impact to our region with innovative ideas and really looking how technology can be a purpose-driven approach to our main topics that we have in the region. So that's the focus and the overall of the program. But what happens? Everybody that participates from our team has the possibility to talk to those ideas, to those entrepreneurship that are in the region. this also reflects on better professionals, on better individuals. So also brings this new and re-energized approach for a company that is 50 years old, that is reinventing day after day. So I think this combination of those programs that we have, as we have the pro bono for Black employee and Black companies inclusion, so many other topics that we have, all of those programs are an exchange of knowledge, of impact internally and externally on our communities. And I think the whole also cultural perspective, because we run this across the region, so we have people from different countries talking to different countries in terms of the projects. This really re-energize with a huge focus of solving the main social and environmental problems in the region, using technology as the base for that. So I think that's the best, evolution, and really what I always say, that's living on our purpose day by day. Again, instead of having this on the wall, is to bring in this, and this exchange really makes us as a company, as people, as individual, much solid. So, and then those ideas can be available for the market, can be available for some of our customers. So all of those connections at the end generate, I would say, this positive impact. So that's why I'm so happy and really appreciate the partnership that we have with you, Matthias, at Social Lab, because I think those are the collaborations that we need to foster if we really want to be genuine, in an authentic way, solving the main topics that we have in the world. So that's some snapshot of some of the projects. And for sure, our responsibility as a company is to continue driving those kind of approaches and bringing our team, our expertise to really address those topics in the market.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Cristina. It's honestly been a great conversation. I think all of the conversations in this series have been great, but with each one we add to the knowledge and to the lessons and to the things that we're learning towards trying to help build a culture of social innovation and responsible leadership. And I do want to, I was taking some notes as well, just as Matthias, and I do have some key takeaways that I want to share with our community, with our public, and I try to order them in a logical sense. Let's see if it worked. First of all, I love the way you put it. It's a journey. No, sustainability and social innovation for corporations, it's a journey. It's not something that you switch on and it's happening. It's a big endeavor. It's complex. It's ambitious. It can be intimidating, but it's a journey, and you have to start somewhere. And it's okay to start with small actions, as long as you don't reward yourself too much when you do them, and each action moves you towards the next one. And I think that another thing that I love that you mentioned within that journey is that it's a journey where we don't want to make the same mistakes twice, right? So it's a journey that should always be of learning, of improving, and pointing towards the future. To make that journey possible, there are two big things. The first one is to create an environment to be able within the corporations to make that journey happen. For example, by implementing projects that let the team live the purpose, and that the teams can connect. We didn't mention it in the interview, but we've had people from SAP in Social Lab doing their pro bono sabbatical years, and it really creates that environment, that connection, where it's not just the leadership, because we've talked a lot about the leadership, but I think this concept of creating the environment allows us to think how we can make all the team, all the collaborators in a company connect with the purpose as well, and be part of that journey, because the company or the leaders cannot go on that journey alone. And I said there were two main things for that journey. The first one is the environment, and the second one is collaboration, right? And companies, environment is towards more the inside of the company, and collaboration is more towards the outside, towards stakeholders. You cannot claim to be a sustainable company if you don't worry and if you don't focus about what's going on with your suppliers, what's going on with your distributors, with what's going on with your clients, with where does your where the materials that you use come from, the labor that is used in all of the, we've heard terrible cases in this. So collaboration, it's key, because I think that we either all walk towards sustainability or we all don't reach it. It's kind of a zero-sum game in that matter. So those are, I think, the two main pillars. And the final comment and the final lesson that I take away from this, which is, I think, a nice bow to add to the whole conversation, is that we always have to look towards technology as an amplifier, as an enabler to implement this sustainability and social innovation practices. It's a tool, it's a partner, and it's something that can help us lead the way and become better, I think, in every way, environmentally, socially, and obviously responsible. How did I do, Chris?
Wow, amazing. Yeah, you did it shorter than I did, right?
No, it's easier coming from the great
amazing.
Thank you so much, Cristina, on behalf of all the team working and all the organizations working for this series, BMW Foundation, Empathy, Social Lab, B Corps, obviously Disruptivo as well. I want to thank you for your time, for being with us, for all the work that you guys do at SAP. And we also want to congratulate you and wish you a happy birthday, happy anniversary for SAP. 50 years for a company is not said lightly, no? Matthias has been with Social Lab for 11 years. I've been with Disruptivo for 8. So thinking about 50, it's a great endeavor. So no, congratulations. And what a great way to celebrate that, being great for us to be part of the celebration, that having this opportunity to share with you all of these topics. Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you so much, Matthias, for connecting us, bringing Cristina to the conversation, which was, I think, amazing.
Yeah, super. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for being part of this 50 years. We have so many things that we do together. And for me, that's exactly our drive, our mantra. We have to do it together in the best way. So appreciate the time, appreciate bringing the topic. Those discussions, I think, are super necessary for us to transform the world. So count on us, and for sure, we'll see an even brighter future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Pues muchísimas gracias a toda la gente que nos escuchó. Thank you so much to everybody out there listening in or watching us, depending on where you are. This is all for us today in this episode of the series for corporate social innovation and responsible leadership. Together, Disruptivo, Social Lab, BMW Foundation, and the rest of our partners. Muchísimas gracias a todos por habernos escuchado, por habernos visto. Les mandamos un enorme abrazo y les agradecemos por habernos acompañado de parte de Fundación BMW, Social Lab, Disruptivo TV y todo el resto de los aliados de esta organización. Y por supuesto, gracias al equipo que está detrás de esto, a Ale de la banca de SAP, a Diana Rodríguez, a Edgar, que literalmente están en el backstage en ese momento, a Mariana Calixto y a Naye Román por hacer esto posible. Muchas gracias. Nos escuchamos en el siguiente episodio de Disruptivo. Hasta luego. ¿Qué te pareció esta conversación? Yo personalmente aprendí muchísimo. Si quieres continuar con el aprendizaje y entrar un poquito más en los detalles de lo que platicamos, no solo con el líder del día de hoy, sino con todos los líderes de esta serie de innovación social corporativa y liderazgo responsable, recuerda que puedes entrar a la página disruptivo.tv/innovación social corporativa y descargar completamente gratis el ebook en el que se recopilan los principales aprendizajes de estas 10 entrevistas. Me encantaría saber lo que opinas tú sobre el tema en redes sociales, así que escríbeme en @delcerrojuan en todas las redes o @disruptivotv. Te escuchamos y conversemos así juntos sobre innovación social corporativa y liderazgo responsable.